Hey everybody, welcome to Board Game Heaven. In this episode, I'm going to do an unboxing of 3 expansions for Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition by Fantasy Flight Games. This is Suppressed Memories, Recurring Nightmares, and Beyond the Threshold, and all 3 have lots of stuff inside. So let's open them up and see what's in them. Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition, expansion, Beyond the Threshold. Let's have a look at the box. So, as always, some artwork, some of the components, here are the miniatures, the contents listed here, a bit of backstory. Let's open it up. Well, that was a tight box. Okay. So, another booklet, just like in the base game, with some of their other games. We have a leaflet. Let's see what that is. Beyond the Threshold, expansion overview. So extra rules for using them. See, additional rules. So there's not a whole lot of new stuff here. So tiles can move about the board. That's interesting. Okay, so what else is in the board? Obviously, tiles and more tokens. There's 3 of them, so let's have a look at that. There we go. Okay. So here we have an entry hall and a balcony with some key and clue tokens and a lamp that was out. And here there's fire, and here we have a yard with a porch and a basement storage. And then here we have more tokens. We have a bedroom storage and a bedroom, a hall corner, and on the other side there's a kitchen with a storage and a dining room. And the last one has some stairs, an attic storage, and another yard, and a library. Some extra thralls here, a new monster. So those monsters need bases, so there's 4 of these square bases in here as well. Here are the thralls, and there's a new investigator, or 2. Let's see. So we have 4 of these thralls. So this woman having a huge mutated hand. And there's 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we have these 2 guys. A guy with a shotgun and a woman with a staff. As you can see, nicely detailed. So we have those. Then we have some small cards and some big cards in here with the standard cardboard Fantasy Flight insert. So there's a character card for both the new investigators. So here is Akachi Onyele and Wilson Richards. So that's those, with a bit of story on the back. And then we have more cards, so more item cards. Let's see what kind of cards we have. So these here are all items with the backpack on most of them. Then we have more mind conditions, minor shock, weak wills, terrible truths. That's 4. Then there's 4 more injury cards with the heart on the back. There's these special items. Oh, item, I think. That's just 1. And we have these mesmerized and insane that we also had in the base game. And there's arcane insight. So these are spells, I take it. So yep, we have some of those with some text in the back. Poison mist as well. So those are new, and that's what you get with Beyond the Threshold. Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition, Suppressed Memories, Figure and Tile Collection. So let's see what that is. A big box with miniatures in them, tiles in them, more explanation about what you get with this box and what it is about. And obviously you need the base game to play, and the contents are listed here as well. So let's see. Now this is a box that doesn't have a lid, but it has an opening here. So I'm gonna open that a little differently than normal. I always like to keep my plastic over the boxes as a kind of a dust cover, and it keeps your boxes from getting shelf wear. So, for as long as they keep, you know. So we have a big monster here right away on top of the box with its own base. Let's open that up. Just put this on the side for a bit. Okay. Let's see if I can just put this on already. So we have a hole here and a peg hole there. Does it click in, or does it just... It's a bit tough to fit. Very tough to fit even. So I'll just hold it like this, okay? Figure that out later. So as you can see, a pretty big model of this monster. So that's pretty cool, very detailed with its own base. I'm not sure if it's supposed to go that way or that way, but because the leg is at the edge, I suppose it's meant to be this way around. Yeah, that's a bit annoying, okay? Fantasy Flight. Those bases aren't really ideal. Perhaps the pegs here are just a tiny bit too big, but well, we will see how we can fix that. Okay. So, lots of extra bases, and a big one there as well. So, I wonder what else we get. So we get some, I assume, investigators here. And this is, yep, more monsters. I'll open that up in a bit. So those were that, and then we have these, and there's a leaflet as well as another booklet, just like in the base game, with different games from Fantasy Flight. Alright, so this is empty. This just has this cardboard insert. I'm just gonna fold this back in here so my box will stay nicely in the plastic. Alright, let us see what we have here. So a bit of explanation how you assemble them. You can take those cards and slide them into those bases, so you can have their names and their stats visible on the base themselves, but that does hide the artwork. So personally, I prefer to keep these tiles on the side as a reference instead of on the miniature itself. And yeah, so I like the artwork, so it would be a shame to hide that. So it says here the big one is the Dark Young, and we also have a Dunwich Horror, which is still in the bag. We have some goat spawns, we have crawling ones, we have Biakis, we have wizards, night gaunts, dark druids, a child of the goat. So yeah, let's have a look at those and what's on the back here. We have 8 extra investigators, and of course a tile. So let's have a look at those first. Okay. All right. Lots of them, so that's nice. So we have some outside areas. There's a well here, a cave entrance, and a rotted path with a rotted porch. And here are more outside areas, a river bend, a pig pen, and a spruce grove. So that's those. And then another tile with an orchard with a shack and an office. And this here is a hilltop and a cave. Here's a ritual site with a ritual sacrificial table, an observation room, and then there's a medical storage and a marshland. Cool. And here we have a campsite, a torture chamber, a dungeon cell, well, this certainly gets grisly, and a dungeon cave, a pond, and a scarecrow in a field. Here's a very large one, just take that off right away. So we have an old forest and the forest edge, really big tile. So a lot of this expansion plays in forests and outside areas, and the app will have the appropriate missions for those. So you can just select in your app which campaign you want to play, and it'll tell you which expansions you will need for that. So this is a mill yard and a water wheel and a forest. So, okay, and here's another one of those big ones. I'll just punch this out right away. Okay, so here we have a barnyard with a big barn. That looks pretty nice. And here is a river crossing with a bridge. Very cool, a covered bridge. You can see the shadow here coming through the holes in the side. Very nice. Okay, and more even. There is a hidden laboratory with a control room and another hallway. More outside areas, a back path with a greenhouse, that's nice, and a graveyard with an open grave. Spooky. And here we have a morgue, oh yeah, and a cave bend here. There's an old oak and a rooftop, that's also pretty cool. And then finally, here is a operating theater. Interesting name. And a dark path with an outhouse. And finally, on the other side, there's river rapids here, a generator room. Here's the generator. So those are all the tiles. There's plenty of tiles in here. Here are, I think, the investigators. There go. So, if I'm not mistaken, then these are the investigators that also came in the first edition of the game, and for which you have the cards in the base game. So the base game has a pack of investigator cards that are basically a conversion kit for using your first edition miniatures in the second edition. But of course, if you only own the second edition, you won't have those, so those come in these expansions. So that's pretty cool. And of course, these investigators you will also find in other games that have the same mythos from Fantasy Flight, such as Elder Sign. So you could, if you like, use these models in other games as well, such as Elder Sign. So that's also pretty cool. So we have two of those here. Two more here yet. It's the photographer. I recognize him. Another guy holding up his hand. Maybe he's holding something in his hand. I can't really tell. So the detail on these is, I'd say, good, not extraordinary, but they're decent enough that you can make out most of what they are carrying. So we have the magician here, and a guy with, oh yeah, the archaeologist with the gun and the scrolls. So, and then finally, these two girls. This one, the scholar, I believe, with a book and a gun, and another one with a flashlight. So there's 8 investigators in here, and then there's this bag with these models in them, these monsters. The big one has the Dunwich Horror, has a bit of trouble coming out, and I just dropped another one. There we go. Let me just pick up the small one, the Night Gaunt. So here, fortunately it can fly. So here's the Night Gaunt. Let me just quickly check the reference sheet. Yep, that was the Night Gaunt. I'll just keep that here for quick reference. So these were the crawling ones. Really creepy. Those are cool. Lots of detail on these. And here is one of those cultists. So a dark druid in this case. Okay, so we have a few of those, 2 of them I believe. There's also, this was a Biaki. Like this lizard folk with wings, or kind of like a dragonborn or something. So yeah, that one. We have another Night Gaunt, another Biaki, another crawling one. Then we have these. Those are the goat spawn figures. So, like a demoness with horns and a tail. And do they have hooves? Well, they have cloven feet, at least. They have these toes. I don't know if you can see that. It's a bit hard, but you can see they have 2 big bird-like or goat-like toes. So yeah, 2 of those. And then we have the child of the goat. So those are, they look just like regular women. I can't really see if there's anything off about them. So 2 of those, and finally the wizard. Here he is. The old wizard with the beard. So those are the monsters, and finally, of course, the Dunwich Horror. Oh, huge bitey mouth there. Lots of, well, legs, I suppose. There's a human head in here with wavy hair. Lots of, squirmy, tentacly things that make up its body with mouths, kind of like, eyeless snakes or something. So, the Dunwich Horror. Also a pretty big figure. So we have 2 of those big ones here. And that is what we find in Suppressed Memories. Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition, Recurring Nightmares figure and tile collection. So this is another of those bigger expansions that has investigators from the 1st edition, should you not own that already, and the monsters as well, and some new tiles. So, yep, see, it says here, and tiles from Mansions of Madness 1st edition. So if you own, again, the 1st edition and you have basically everything, you don't need these 2 big boxes. You might need Beyond the Threshold, but not these. And this is for people who only started this at 2nd edition and would like to have everything that the game has to offer. So let's open it up. Like the other box, it has this cardboard filler to keep everything in place. The miniatures, the investigators, and some tiles. Okay, that's it. Except for another one of those booklets that we've seen by now. So that's the box. Here is the leaflet with the recurring nightmares, the monsters and the tiles. And this one doesn't have any extra rules either, so it just tells you how to put things together and has a nice reference sheet. So a bag of these bases that hold those tokens with the monsters, should you want to put them in. They also have clips, I noticed, on the back, so you can also put tokens in here indicating that they're injured or something, to keep track. So yeah, I suppose that's handy, but I'm not a big fan of putting those tiles in the recesses because you don't see all the artwork, but okay. So let's again go through the tiles first and then look at the miniatures. Let's see what this is. There we go. So more of those bigger tiles. So we have a front yard here, big front yard with a mud room. Have never heard of a mud room, but okay. And here is a foyer, big nice foyer with the stairs going up. Then there is a backyard with a storage shed. There's a cave. Here is a coat room with a gallery. Looks really fancy. And another hallway. Then there's a patio or patio. How do you pronounce that? I don't know. And a root cellar. And a chasm here with a rickety bridge going over it. A bathroom, some more hallway corners, Another hallway here. Oh, what else is there? There is a front path with a front porch. And there is a furnace room to dispose of all those bodies, I guess. Do we have in the back? We have a freezer and an operating room, a laboratory, a master bedroom, here are some stairs to the basement with a basement storage and a crypt. Oh, did we check the back? Not yet. Nope, there is stairs to a tower, apparently. Tower stairs with an attic storage and a tower room and another hallway. There is a graveyard here. Also cool. A secret passage. That's nice. A guest bedroom with a storage closet and a dining room with a kitchen storage and a kitchen. We have a garden, some crops being planted here, an entryway, and a cave. There's a study, a library, and another hallway. Plenty of tiles. Here is an attic. Stairs leading up. And a ceremony room. Another one of those stone sacrificial tables. And here, this is an interesting room. What's that? It's a chapel. So we have a chapel and a bathroom with a nursery. Okay, those were the tiles. Then we have some more first edition investigators. So let's just go by them. Don't know all their names, but you might recognize them. This guy with the dog and the guitar. And here's a woman holding something. Can't quite make out what that is. But you can see that in the artwork on their character cards that come with the base game. And then if you want to paint that accordingly, and here is a woman holding a candle. And this is a woman with a handbag. Extra investigators. Here's a guy running with his guns and an old professor with a walking cane. Nice and dynamic pose. That's pretty cool. Really like that one. And a professor with a slight bent back, leaning on his walking cane. There seems to be something that broke off here, or at least, well, it has a peg, so I'm guessing it should be glued on somewhere. Who's missing an arm? So here is a girl with two guns and a guy with a Tommy gun. Let me just quickly see if any of my... Oh yes, well, I hadn't noticed. This one is supposed to have this arm here, so I'll just glue that in. Doesn't look like anything special. See, like that. Okay. And then a bag of monsters. Let's see what kind of monsters those are. So I'll just cut that open. These on the side. Alrighty. So a couple of big ones here. Some of these worms. And lots of smaller models. So let's see. We have some Migos. These guys over here, if I can get this other one untangled. So they're all in these bags and they kind of get tangled a bit. So carefully remove them from each other. So here is a Migo taking the brain out of a person's severed head. I believe these Migos are also called the fungi from Shoggoth. And they always have these brains in their hands. If you own Cthulhu Wars, you might recognize them. That's pretty funny. They prey on brains, so we have 2 of those. Then we have here a cult leader, obviously in his robes, holding a wand or a staff, or a scepter, if you will. Some nice skulls on his belt. Nice detail. So we have 2 of those as well. We have some guys with an axe. The Maniac. Here's Johnny. 2 of those. We have a zombie. So yeah, he looks pretty intact for a zombie. He might be fresh. Fresh corpse brought back to life. So we have 2 of those. No, 3, 4 of those. Then we have 2, I guess, witches. Yes. So here's the witch. Two of those. These are the Hounds of Tindalos. We have 2 of those. Kind of like a reptile, a snake of some kind with these multi-jointed arms. And his foot seems to be like this suction grabby thing. So, 2 of those. Now the bigger ones, we have a Chthonian. These huge worms. All the tentacles. Pretty cool. Pretty big. And finally, a Shoggoth. Look at it. It's big. It's a big slug-like creature with lots and lots of eyes and some tentacles and these weird legs. And it also doubles as a hand puppet. So 2 of those. And that is what you will find in Recurring Nightmares. And that was the unboxing of Suppressed Memories, Recurring Nightmares, and Beyond the Threshold expansions for Mansions of Madness 2nd edition by Fantasy Flight Games. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and see you next time on Board Game Heaven.